What's going on, guys? My name is Matt with Carolina Coops, and I bet you this house looks familiar. We are in Rogers, Arkansas at the Welcome Inn. To my right is Natalie. She is the co-host of this beautiful property. And to your right is Emily. The reason why we are here today is I got a call from Emily and Natalie and said, Matt, we need your help. We don't know what's going on with our water system. And then we got talking a little bit more, and they had a deep freeze come, and I said, we're on our way. We're going to come out there, and we're going to do an official walk around today. And the beautiful coop is right over there. And let's get started. We're walking back here to where the chicken coop is. I have not been back here yet since we left, since we installed this beautiful chicken coop. I cannot believe the difference. If you don't know this property that I'm talking about, you got to go check out Fix It to Fabulous. This is a 4-part series called The Welcome Inn by Jenny and Dave Mars. And we were here in the, they showed us in the 4th episode doing the chicken coop. And the landscape was nothing like this. This is amazing. It's amazing what you can do with grass and some plants and bushes. I just absolutely love it. Well, now I remember when we did the initial meeting, where the coop was gonna go was so important. So one of the first questions I did want to ask you before we get into helping you guys out with what you got going on there, how has it worked with the flow of the location of the chicken coop? Was it spot on, or was it like, Matt, I wish we would have put it somewhere else?
No, it actually has been a really good fit. Yeah, the location is perfect. I think it's a really great spot because guests, the first thing that they do when they come in the gate is they usually go right for the coop. It's definitely a highlight, and they love sitting on the porch swing and being able to look out at the coop too. And yeah, it's convenient as well to come right there from the door, get some fresh eggs, and go cook them in the kitchen.
All right, so what we're gonna do is I have not even been over to the chicken coop yet, so you guys get to see the first steak, which is always the best. Emily and Natalie are gonna show me around, and again, guys, just ask me whatever it is, because I know when we were last here, we did a walk around, but it really wasn't official. This is really the official walk around that I think is so important because you guys are the ones taking care of the chicken coop, right?
Right.
Awesome. So we'll hop over there and just, again, fire away with your questions, and then I'll probably bounce back with some questions. We'll get rocking and rolling.
Great.
All right, let's head on over here. So I see, have you been letting your chickens free range at all?
No, we haven't. Yeah, some of the tentativeness with that just comes from not knowing how they would do. If they would be able to be, gathered up again and put back in the coop. That's my biggest fear. They definitely are eager to get out. I mean, anytime we have that door open, you do have to keep them back inside, so they do want a free range. But again, I really don't know how that we would do that and get them back in the coop. So.
They always come back at night. If you can let them out any time in the day, but you don't want to plan on coming out in the middle of the day, like in Rocky 2, trying to chase a chicken.
No.
All right,
Yeah.
But at night they always come back to roost. Right. So, I'm realizing a lot right now. So actually I would love to kind of start right at the very beginning. So let me ask you, have you guys ever had chickens before?
When I was younger, yeah.
Okay.
I
Wasn't taking care of other people's chickens, but not owned my own.
Terminology in the world of chickens and chicken coops, I don't want to cause any confusion, so I always like to clear some things up. So when I refer to the entire structure, we call that the chicken coop. And there's 2 parts to a chicken coop. There's the solid hen house area. Technically with a Craftsman coop, this is gonna be 3 parts. You got a hen house inside with a shed area, which I'm gonna show you guys here in a minute, and the run here, okay? Now, when they aren't free ranging, I cannot emphasize the importance that we gotta make sure everything is perfect. There's zero forgiveness inside the run when chickens are not free ranging because that is their world. And what people forget is chickens are meant to work. They need to work. And we don't want to allow any potential for boredom. All right, so important. We'll talk about that when we go inside the run. Here are your windows. Now, I cannot emphasize enough, ventilation is so important. What we are doing, I always refer to, we have to do what chickens needed. We have to create what chickens needed before coops were invented. And what they did at night is they would go up into the tree branches and stay in the trees, and hopefully they survive the night. Well, when you're up in the trees, you have tons of ventilation. We need to have tons of ventilation inside the solid structure. So here's where we always emphasize having as much ventilation as possible, but what we have the ability to do is control it. Now, we're in, again, Rogers, Arkansas. It's pretty cold today, or I'm really getting used to the South. Chickens do well in cold temperatures. I do notice a lot of people live in the South. I know you guys are gonna beat me up right now, so be it. Trust me when I say this. It's not that cold in the South. I find my Southern customers freak out and they put storm shields on the run. They're just doing all kinds of things and they're gonna cook their chickens. It's the heat we gotta worry about. So in the summertime, make sure these are open and you got cross ventilation. It is imperative that this entire hen house structure can breathe.
Okay, so summertime, that's when we are ventilating. Wintertime, when it's freezing, we
Close
just
it off.
keep them closed.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's continue walking around this way. And here's one of the favorite parts of a chicken coop, if you will, because when we have chickens, it's all about the eggs. We do build our chicken coops out of wood, and I prefer to use it out of wood, but wood doesn't always want to behave, and we try to do a lot of things like allowing for expansion, contraction, and I can see what's happened here is exactly that. This is textbook. When I talk about one of the things we love about our egg hutches is the drop-down door. The reason why we love the drop-down door is so if there is a hen in there, you're not going to spook her, okay? Most egg hutches, the roof goes up, and let's say we have to have, in this particular design, the egg hutch does need to be up this high. And if the roof was up here, that just ruins the fun, especially if there's kids here or whatever, or us shorter folks to be able to get the eggs. But also it causes a leak point, so we have a stationary roof. We have this drop-down door. Now, the reason why we love the drop-down door is anyone short or tall can get to the eggs. But, you guys see it? Here's what's happening. I am not a fan of using industrial hemp bedding for the nesting material. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. One of the reasons is they wanna get in there and kick that stuff around. They wanna make a nest. Again, we wanna encourage their instincts. What did chickens do before coops were invented? Well, what happens is you get a buildup. We're gonna take an official egg hutch cleaner scraper. All right, get that out of here. You want nesting material, and chickens love long stream material. Now, you can use straw, and a lot of people say, no, Matt, don't use straw because it'll harbor mites or it'll impact their crop. I've used straw for years. I've never had any problems. I know millions of people use straw. The chickens will nest in it, but the ideal material is a form of hay. Whatever you would feed horses, you know, tall, long grasses. I know on the East Coast we refer to it as coastal hay. I'm not sure what it's called here. But basically try to think, if you were a chicken and you wanted to build this nice comfy nest to keep the eggs protected, what would you use? What would you go out and try to find right now? And that is long, grassy materials. That make sense? So now here's what's gonna happen, especially in the beginning. When you put that nesting material in there, the chickens are gonna go, oh, thank you, Natalie and Emily. I'm so happy now, but let me make my nest, okay? And they may kick out some material, but once that material starts to lock in, this won't happen as much, and that is the material building up right here. I cannot emphasize enough, this is the one disadvantage to a drop-down door, which I don't care anymore because I love everything else about our chicken coops, is you gotta keep an eye on this area. If this door, we allow for expansion and contraction right here. And if...
Oh, there you go. You did it. There you go. Yay!
Here's the business side of things. Have you guys cleaned out your hen house yet?
No.
One time.
Oh,
Shanna-
just kind of,
Yeah.
Scooped it, yes,
Yeah,
but not like emptied
Not
or
empty the full
refilled
thing
or
and
anything
put
like
new
that.
All right, so what we are about to talk about should bring a big, beautiful smile on both your faces. In all of our chicken coops, we incorporate what's called a deep litter system. What I'm about to say is gonna sound crazy, but you have to trust me. The deep litter system is about composting inside the hen house. And if done correctly, you can go over a year without ever having to clean it out. I have coops out there that have 3 years worth of chicken droppings and there's no smell at all. And you have to keep in mind when it comes to feces, imagine if feces didn't smell. We'd probably, who knows what we'd be doing with it. It's meant to smell so that it breaks down and goes back into the soil, if you will. But the smell is the nuisance. And especially here with the Airbnb, we don't want that smell. But also with the deep litter system, it makes your life a lot easier. So we're gonna talk about how to do that, okay? Now let me ask you, when's the last time you cleaned out your hen house? When's the last time you've done anything inside here?
I mean, it is
was
probably the
pretty
one
minimal,
time.
yeah, the one time.
In fall, probably.
Yeah, let's say says September.
Yeah,
I think it was
September.
September.
All right, so it's December 14th, if I got that right. So not too long ago. Now let me ask you, what did you do? Did you mentioned that you cleaned out a little bit of it, or?
Just kind of sifted it almost like litter, like cat litter, kind of sifted through it, scrubbed a little bit of the wood and the ladder where the chickens climb up to the coop because they'll poop on that and it looks bad. But other than that, really not much. We moved around the stuff in the chicken run, scraped a little bit and pushed some things around, but other than that.
On the
Haven't done
daily,
much.
this is not even an area, aside from collecting eggs, that we even
Touch.
think about.
Nor should you.
No.
Nor should you. Okay. So here's how the deep litter system works. You have carbon, which in this case is this beautiful industrial hemp bedding, and you have nitrogen, the chicken droppings. The rule of thumb is 30 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen. Now, I don't think anyone ever goes in there. I don't know how they even come up with that. But it's real simple. If you start to smell that ammonia, urea, that chicken smell, it's time to add carbon, but you add a layer. You don't want to actually go in there and remove it. You don't want to sift it out. You just add a layer. And you will not believe how almost immediately, it is immediate, the smell goes away. And what you're doing is you're allowing those layers allow the microbes to start breaking that down.
Right.
It's really that simple.
So when you opened up the egg box, what do you call it?
Industrial hemp, the egg
No,
hutch.
no, the egg hutch. I call it the egg box,
Laying
but that's
box?
probably the laying box. Okay. That's the first time I've actually smelt it. Like I am starting to, but I've never actually smelt it before. Did you smell that when you opened it up? Oh.
Am I getting,
Smells a
am
little bit.
I chicken dropping nose blind?
Well, it's not. I only noticed it because I never smell it.
I didn't smell it either,
And
to be honest
so
with you.
it was just a little where I was like, huh, okay, I've not smelled that before. But maybe it's because we're low and we need another.
This
Layer?
smells great.
It does. Okay.
Mistakes you can make with deep litter system is overloading the nitrogen. That's easy to do because of chicken math. How many chickens do you have? Right. 4. This hen house is designed to hold up to 16 chickens.
Wow.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying to max it out, but there's a lot of math that goes into making sure the deep litter system is successful. If you crammed 100 chickens in here, this diaper's just not big enough for them. Make sense? So it's that simple. Now, when it does come time to clean, I can tell you, if you got 4 chickens in here, you're going years. On to the reason why you called us originally.
Yes.
And I'm excited about this because this comes up a lot. This is our heated water system. And I can't emphasize this enough. It has to be set up perfect or it will not work. So here's how the system is meant to work. You don't have to collect rainwater, but in my opinion, why not?
Right.
It goes into this high density polyethylene food safe rain barrel. All right, it is fake, okay? And it's fake because real rain barrels that are made out of wood with staves, we've done them. God, they are a nightmare. It needs to stay wet all the time for it to seal. So we do go with the plastic. I know it's not the prettiest looking thing, but it works. This is what will hold the water system, and you have a water bar inside, which we'll show you here in a little bit. But it's real simple. Gravity is going to push the water down, go through this hose bib, go through the hose, go in and feed the pump that's on the water bar. And then since the water's up to here, it's going to keep pushing the water through the water bar and level off in this hose. Now, when it's not freezing, you don't need anything but gravity and water. You just got to make sure there's no restrictions, which we're going to check here in a minute. When it comes time where it's going to freeze, that's when this system is beautiful. Now, what I'm about to say is so important because people get this wrong. And I know why they get it wrong. This is called a heat-it. And in our heated water system, which actually I got to stop using those words, there is a heater. So people think, oh, heater, which is down inside the barrel to keep the water from freezing, plug the heater into the heat-it. No. This is self-regulating. There's actually its own switch inside the heater that's down inside the barrel. This just gets plugged directly into 120 AC. Set it, forget it there. Just plug it in, good to go. The heat-it is a thermostatic switch that knows to come on when it gets close to freezing to turn the pump on. The pump then circulates that warmer water to keep through the water bar back into the rain barrel so the water doesn't freeze. Now let me be clear. It's a de-icer. It's actually not a heater. And I'm just so used to saying heater, but a lot of people are like, well, Matt, the water's not warm. It's not, you don't want it warm. If your water's warm, you got the wrong heater. It's only meant to keep it above 43 degrees Fahrenheit, or keep it at 43 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna go through this, troubleshoot it, make sure it's in tip-top shape. This is your Dutch door, and this is how you gain access into the run. All right, so let's come inside the run. A lot of people will ask, what can you feed chickens? And there are people out there that tell you, don't feed them avocados, don't feed them apple seeds, don't feed them pizza, God forbid. Chickens can eat anything, and I highly recommend giving them table scraps. I'm not sure in the Airbnb if you have a chicken bucket, things like that.
I actually have some in my car that I
Yeah,
save
we
for them.
bring them
We bring
a lot
our
of things
own
from
stuff
home,
from
yeah.
home. Yeah.
Perfect. What you never want chickens to have is mold. And they're meant to eat off the ground. It's what keeps them healthy. It's what makes the eggs healthy. It's what makes the eggs healthy for us. So wonderful. What you don't want to do is give them so much that they can't consume in 24 hours. And the biggest reason is the molds. You don't want it to get moldy. And number two, you want to do everything you can to prevent pests.
Okay.
It's all about prevention. And mice and rats, believe it or not, can fit through that hardware cloth.
Really?
You don't want to give them a reason to be in here. All right? Okay, so we are inside the run. Any questions so far about inside the run?
One of the major things is, I guess, it's different. I didn't know if we should be adding what this is, bark. What should, we noticed that they dig holes for the dust baths and those kind of things. Should we be adding anything? Is this okay for them to scratch in?
So,
low?
great question. Very important again, because this is all they have right now for the outside, so there's no room for error.
Okay.
Always go back to what did chickens do before coops were invented. Now, chickens are a natural woodland animal. And if you think about when you walk into the woods, and if you were to dig, it's very rich and organic and soft. It's not typically compacted. It's because you think about all the stuff that's falling from the canopy of the forest down to the ground and getting recycled. That's what you want to mimic, believe it or not, inside the chicken run. And one of the other reasons why I do love adding organics into the run is to help create that ecology in the soil, if you will, that will benefit breaking down the droppings to keeping it loose. What we love to do when it happens, and you got a lot of hardwoods here, go get the leaves and throw them in here. Don't spread them.
Okay.
Drop them in a big pile. The chickens will love it. And think about it. Again, now you're mimicking the forest floor.
Okay.
So is that something that we can have our landscaping crew do? They come
100%.
twice a week.
100%. Just no pine needles.
Okay.
I know pine straw is real big in the south.
Yeah.
Deciduous leaves, your maples, your oaks, your ashes.
Okay. We have all that. Right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
The chickens absolutely love it.
We
Now,
have a signature tree here in the front, which is a part of our logo for the welcome, which is the ginkgo tree. Are those okay for the chickens? Those ginkgo leaves?
I
do you know?
believe so. Those ginkgos aren't they federally protected too? So I'm sure there'll be some comments on that one. But I don't see why not. The leaves are falling. Yeah, let them be recycled.
Foragers.
So the biggest thing is when it comes to the run, you got to make sure the chickens are allowed to be chickens. And I like what I see. I would just continue to add material so it can be broken down eventually in the soil.
Okay.
And as long as you're not smelling anything, you know everything is good.
Okay.
If you had 100 chickens in here, you would have a problem. So many people are like, oh my God, I got to go in and clean my run. If you have to clean out your run, you got too many chickens in your run. It's just that simple. I'm loving everything I see in here so far. Over here are your feeder ports. I would get some blocks to build this up a little bit more. Whether it's bricks or cinder blocks, you can get a piece of slate, whatever you want to do, so the chickens can get up in there and be able to get to their feed. But it looks like they have not had a problem. The idea behind these ports is to reduce drag back so that we don't have waste in feed and potentially inviting pests. This, I would say, is completely normal.
Okay.
All right? Going back to that the chickens aren't free-ranging, you have to make sure they have access to everything they need. And something that gets overlooked is chickens don't have teeth. Okay, their teeth what we call grit. They need to swallow little tiny rocks that go down into their gizzard, and that gizzard is what crushes up. Oh, that sounds so good. Doesn't gizzard sound good? I love gizzards. It's what crushes up their food. So I see you got some rocks in here, but nothing. These are way too big for them to be able to swallow. When they're free ranging, they would go out and find all this stuff, along with a good dust bath. So have some fun with that.
Okay.
There's all kinds of stuff on Pinterest, and you can go get all kinds of stuff and just fill it with your ideal mixture for a dust bath, which we can talk about that later.
Okay.
Don't want to get into all that now, but there is a little bit of a science behind it. But we got to make sure the chickens can clean themselves, because the dust acts as a desiccant. It's what they would do naturally.
Okay.
All right. So I'm very glad to see this. I love the height. It's at chest height. That's good because of that not working right now. So you guys have done well. I'm very proud of you guys.
Thank you. High five.
We tried.
There may have been a few tears about these chickens. in this
Yes,
coop.
it's true.
Emily is gonna bear with us this morning while we're gonna go do the follow-up from the other day when we did the TLC work, if you will. And it's a little cold this morning. It's actually very cold.
Brisk.
It's brisk. And there was one thing we couldn't do, and I'm a little worried because it was a very important thing. So we're about to go down and check that out. I did have to change out all the screws to longer screws. Probably you guys didn't notice. Don't understand why there were short screws in there. So that's all changed out.
Okay.
We did get you a bunch of new dowels.
I have those, and I grabbed them for safety. So they're in the garage.
Perfect.
So we have all those.
Nan wanted to make sure we got you all the carabiners.
And I love that they're black. Thank you.
Yeah,
They're beautiful.
Yeah. Sounds like we got someone in here. No, I heard someone, but you already got some eggs in here this morning. Just a reminder, keep that cleared out. Should always shut just like that. There's a screen guard up there for your leaves.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Hear the water running?
I do hear that, and I've never heard that before.
Yes. So that's a good thing. What we have to do, what I was really worried about, is we're.
Yes. Yes.
And I didn't want to. You have it so beautiful here.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pull up that cord.
Got it.
We really need to get that heater plugged in as quick as possible.
Okay.
But I think we were able to get lucky because of the water moving. Now, a quick reminder.
It's also in the sun.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, it wasn't at night.
Right.
So this is what tells the pump to turn on. The pump is running. You can hear it. And then what we need to do is please get this plugged in.
Okay.
Maybe pull up that extension cord, plug it into the new outlet, get some slack.
Yep.
I do recommend getting this tucked up and underneath the soffit. Get it out of the rain.
Okay.
All right. It's always better to keep the electric dry.
Okay, great.
All right. So and then we blocked it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We got it up higher. We flushed it out. We cleaned it out.
Cut this too.
All right. We redid this. We anchored it. I got actual white tack screws, so it looks better.
All the details.
Yeah, I left the extra stuff here that was already here that we didn't need to use.
Yep.
But what was so important is that we got it up, and it's also leaning forward just a little bit. Here's the overflow.
Okay.
All right, we want to make sure it overflows this way and not back that way.
So if it gets to the brim, it comes out here.
That's right.
Okay.
And not into the coop.
Okay.
So this is the de-icer. This is what keeps the water from freezing. So we've called it a heater for so many years, but it's really not a heater. It's a de-icer. But yeah, remember, this is self-regulating. Just plug it in,
Right.
and you're good to go. You can.
And so the yellow, okay, so this is de-icer. Plug this in. This is yellow pump, always plugged in.
Yes.
Always
You can
plug.
technically
Okay.
plug this in and always leave it.
Oh, we can. Okay.
I changed out your lockout cable.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
I did get locked in one time, so.
Yeah, you should never have to yank on it hard. If you have to start yanking on it hard, something else is going on. You know, this isn't cabling meant for bridging,
Yeah,
so
right.
it can break, but it's designed to do exactly what it's meant for this application. Okay, so I can see the chickens are already using this. Nothing froze, which is great. The moving water, I think, helped tremendously.
It's all good for you. I know. Come here. I know.
So I did replace the nipple here
Okay.
and the nipple there, I believe. 'Cause I think there was a cup there, a missing nipple,
Yep.
and
Wow, that's awesome.
it's really that simple. That's all there is to it.
That's so great.
I did reset your ladder here.
Okay.
That was driving me crazy too. I'm
Yes.
not sure. Something really pushed down hard on it. What I would do So if you guys have another, I didn't want to put a cinder block in here because I thought it would look kind of tacky. If you guys get something to put underneath this ladder, because technically it should be up a little bit higher, it should be up here,
Well,
which would allow.
Could we take one of these boards, flip it flat, and then cover it with the?
You absolutely
ground
could.
cover? Okay.
I just didn't know exactly what you guys would want to do
Yeah.
aesthetically. Anything
Totally.
would work.
Okay.
And
Maybe
you
one
know,
of those-
And again, like I said earlier, even right there, and you can get some really inexpensive. I'm not a big fan of faux or anything that's fake, but they got like blue stones that are fake that are really inexpensive. They look really well. Yes.
Some of the stones that are matching the walkway out front might look amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the chickens won't care, but it would hurt if you wanted to put it, bring that up just a little bit higher, put something underneath here.
Okay. We're getting
And-
this guy out of here.
Yep, you can get that out of here. Please, every time you guys come down to get eggs, just do a once over.
Okay.
When you know it's cold, make sure you hear it running.
Okay.
If it starts to sound like it's trickling, something got down inside that rain barrel.
Okay.
See, it's actually already warmed up enough, it just shut off. You just want to make sure you have that, a good solid flow when it is cold. And if you have any questions, you got me on speed dial.
Yes.
We are here
Thank you.
all the time via text or a phone call. Just let us know if you need anything,
So
okay?
grateful. Yes. Okay.
Said you were out of hemp.
You didn't get us hemp.
Yay! We got him! Woohoo!
Merry Christmas!
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Oh, I should have wrapped them.
We got 4 bales of hemp. There's 2 right here. There's probably another 2 behind it or on the other side. Use as needed. You're welcome.
So much. Yay!
You're welcome.
Woohoo!
Cool.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them down below. For my YouTube Chicken Police, you know who you are. Love to hear from you. I know it's been a while. Sorry about that. We'll see you next time.